Here we are back in Denver, Colorado. 1 Billion Stories is coming to you raw today. The camera in my Mac. No fancy cameras tonight. Too tired for that. Today's story is coming to you from a young lady who started a non-profit, a pro-life revolution because the Catholic faith, stands up for life. Not backing down. We don't care what the culture says. We're going to stand up for life for as long as it takes to bring abortion down in this country. And so today's story, Lila Rose from liveaction.org. 10 days ago, they released a video exposing pimps going into Planned Parenthoods across the country and asking if their girls could get abortions at these Planned Parenthoods, as posing as 14-year-old girls. And Live Action caught it on tape, caught it on audio. In fact, you can watch it on the link to your right. It's up to 424,000 hits on YouTube. That's nothing, though. If it's not up to 1 million in the next 2 weeks, we've done something wrong. We need to spread this video to as many people as possible. And so I'm going to get off my high horse and let Lila take it away with part 3 to her story. If you want to watch part 1 and part 2, once again, the links are to your right. Check it out as she discerned her way from practicing her faith to becoming. What happened in 2009, I believe it was just last year that you decided to become Catholic.
Yes.
And so you were not raised Catholic.
No, I was not raised Catholic. I was raised a Protestant.
Okay.
And I have come from a loving, very faith-filled family.
Yeah.
But I was hungry to learn about the church, or to learn about, there are certain things about the Catholic Church. I didn't know any Catholics growing up.
Okay.
But I started reading a lot of books, as I said, books theme with me. I love to read.
Sure.
And so I read,
A Seeker of Truth.
Seeker of Truth, sure. I read, Joan of Arc by Mark Twain when I was 12.
Cool.
And I read Father Elijah by Michael O'Brien when I was 13. And I'm reading G.K. Chesterton and C.S. Lewis. And a lot of this is because my father is committed to the truth. And my father loves the church fathers and doctors, even as a Protestant.
Interesting.
So he was kind of being Catholicized himself.
Sure.
I was reading his books, being taught his books.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got to college, I was just eager. I knew about the church, and I was eager to learn more. And I was hungry. I was hungry for the sacraments. I didn't even recognize that hunger until shortly after. But then I fell on the doorstep of an Opus Dei center, actually, a women's Opus Dei center near my school. And I wanted to go to church. I had tried a Lutheran church and a Protestant church and an evangelical and all these different things. And I'll just go to a mass. Masses are, Catholic, and I want to learn more about this anyways.
Sure.
I'm sitting in the back of this little chapel, and I turn to a woman next to me and I say, "Are there any mentors here? Just someone I can talk to about stuff, She said, "I'll see you tomorrow." And she ended up being my sponsor into the Catholic Church.
Wow.
She answered my questions. I met with a wonderful priest, Father Paul Donlin. I asked him the toughest questions about the faith. What about Mary and praying to the saints and transubstantiation and every question. And at the end of it all, I was intellectually convinced that this was the truth. My heart was already there. I wanted so badly to belong to the one true church and to receive our Lord in the most holy Eucharist. And so it was a kind of like, at that point, it was like, okay, first confession, let's do it, and let's get to that. Let's get to the confirmation ASAP, first communion ASAP. So about a month before Easter Sunday of 2009, in a private ceremony with my priest and some Father Paul and some other friends and family, I was received into the Catholic Church.
Wow. And on top of that, it doesn't hurt that the Catholic Church takes such a strong stand, obviously, for the pro-life movement. That's really the center of the social teachings of the church.
Yes, because they have stood for the truth of church for over 2,000 years now.
Yeah.
Despite whatever winds or currents or
fads
or injustices are taking place, they still stand for the dignity of the human person, because they recognize and they teach with authority that the human person is made in the image of God, and it's so beautiful. So, I mean, who can't love that teaching and that authority?
That is beautiful, beautiful. And then, kind of wrapping it up, prayer. I've read in All right, there we go. I'm going to ask you all to come back and listen to four to Lila Rose's story as to why she begins and ends her day with prayer. This work of liveaction.org, is intense. If she doesn't pray, things are gonna, who knows what's gonna happen. So she's praying hard. Please pray for Live Action. And I'm gonna ask for some prayers for 1 Billion Stories as we continue to discern the future. Lastly, I've started to place the readings for the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass after every video. So you can just come back every day and you will know what readings will be read globally around the world in the Universal Church. That's why there's 1 billion Catholics, and that's why we're called 1billionstories.com.